Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the video. This is Fishing Vlog number 50, and there's an awful lot to get to today, including the draw for that little cascading filter I put together about a week ago now. Now, I'm sorry I started off this with a still, but I swear I had recorded this, but somehow I must have erased it or something, I'm not sure. This is the 5-stage airlift that I had in this system for a long time. And I recently took it all apart to make room for a bunch of other stuff. And I don't like to throw out, well, especially all those tubes and whatnot. And they are quite a pain to clean. I mean, I could have run a brush through them and stuff, but I'm lazy. So what I did is I stuck them in my Pleco breeding aquarium. And this is like 2 days later. The only parts they haven't cleaned are the ones that are between the actual pieces of plastic where they're stuck together. So all I have to do is just pull that apart, and this will be all nice and clean, and I can use these pieces for other projects. I just thought I'd throw this in here because it was kind of funny. I mean, Plecos are great at what they do. Now, I wanted to get into a little bit more of aquaponics and things along those lines. I have another project I'm working on which has nothing to do with aquaponics, but it involved these potatoes, and a few of them had already started sprouting from the eyes. So I just stuck 2 of them up on top of these things here just to see if they would start to grow. And they're doing really quite well, so that's kind of interesting. And there's stuff for that coming up for sure. Now, if you remember, I had planted these, they're kind of a dwarf arrowleaf plants, and one of them is doing really well, and one of them isn't. I'm not sure if this is a coincidence that this is in the exact same pot that the other succulent I had was fading in, and there's something in there. I'm not sure. I'm going to let this run a little while longer. I've pruned off some of the wilting leaves that you see there. I did take a scraping from it and looked at it under the microscope, but all I could find is, well, dirt. So the magnification obviously isn't sufficient for me to look for any kind of fungal or bacterial infections. But I thought I'd have a look anyway. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, and if it does fade, I'm probably just going to sterilize that whole thing and, start it fresh with that. So my little angelfish are at it again, and because I am now moving those larger fry into the 7-foot tank, I am going to, whichever batch they do the next little while that is, they're going to bring to free swimming, I'm going to raise another batch of them. As you can see, the plants here are doing really well. I've kind of crowded this tank a little bit because I'm making some room for the baby rainbows in the tank to the right here. The moss is doing really well. I haven't done anything to this yet. Apparently those little seedlings that were sprouting were outcompeted by them, so the moss is definitely thriving. And all these plants are doing really well. I did clean out, well, not clean out, but I cleaned the lid to this. I cleaned it. It was getting quite covered in algae, so I went in and I wiped that all down because I'm prepping this tank here. This is getting ready now. I've pulled out a lot of the Java fern and Java moss, and this is where I'm going to be putting the larger of the Bosmati Rainbow fry. So they're going to go in here. I'm kind of not sure when to do this because if I put them in there and they're too small and they can't find the food, they're just going to get hungry. So I have to be a little bit careful of that. These are the new ones. These are just hatched now. They're probably about 4 or 5 days old. And this is the second container I'm setting up now. So I have one with the Java moss from the tank, these little ones. And over here, these are the bigger ones. So I'm going to take half a dozen of these guys out, and I'm going to put them in that tank. And I'm going to start, like I've started feeding them on microworms now and a little bit of baby brine shrimp. So I want to see if they can thrive on that. So while I'm talking about feeding little fish, these are this is my Vinegar Separator. And if you remember a while back, I had cleaned out the mulm, or whatever you want to call it, that accumulates at the bottom of my vinegar eel cultures. So the one on the left hasn't been cleaned, and the one on the right has. Well, the one on the right came up for its rotation for feeding, and I did notice a slight drop in the amount of eels available. It wasn't significant. I would say if this was at 100%, the other one probably around 70 or 80%. So around about day 2.5, it was running out. It is noticeable. Not important because I have 10 of these things, but it's something I want to keep in mind when I start doing they do need to be cleaned out from time to time, and I just make sure I don't do too many at once. That way I won't have a depletion in the amount of live food I have. Speaking of live food, there's a whole pile of new live food stuff coming up soon, and it's definitely going to get its own video. So here are the baby Bosmati Rainbows. And as you can see, they're in there. They have bellies. They're finding food. And I'm very happy with that because I want to move the rest of them in there as well. Because it's not a good idea to keep them in those tubs for too long. I mean, they do need regular, good quality water and filtration stuff. These are the killies. And I need to move the babies here. They're not really babies anymore. They're almost, sub-adults, really. I need to move them out because they may be predating on the newly hatched ones because I haven't really seen many lately. So they need to come out of there and get their own aquarium. That's going to come up shortly. And then, of course, I'll let the adults continue their breeding because I want to make sure that I have, a nice population of these guys. Like I said many times, I really like that. So this is the tank that the Java Moss Bog Filter is on. And I'm really... really having fun with this thing, and it is an interesting project. There's way too many fish in that little tank, and as you can see, I have now added some pearlweed here. I am trying to give you a look at it because there's a lot of condensation there. There's going to be a bit of a look when I move up towards the top that you'll be able to see it better. The pearlweed's just been in here a short period of time, so it really hasn't started to grow yet. But it is doing okay. I mean, it's alive. It's not wilting or anything, so that's a start. And what I've done now is I've done some water chemistry on this. I showed you this one here, and then I did another test 2 days later, and it is less. And then I did the next day after that, which was yesterday, and it's less again. So I'm going to put them side by side here so you can see them. It is pretty much getting rid of whatever ammonia is in there. Now, it's not zero yet, but again, it's only been a few days since I took the initial test. I suspect once this bog filter gets a little bit more established, even with all that biomass in it, it is managing to remove all the ammonia. And there's no nitrite, and there's no nitrate as well. Very interesting. This is the cheap dollar store build. It is actually filtering. You can see there's dirt in there. That's actually really kind of nice. It is, again, going to be in the ammonia test shortly. And really, I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. All right, let's get to the draw. There's two things here. The one on the right is Fred's. Fred, I finally put together your two-stage box filter that you had won in the draw. And I'm going to get that out to you this week. Plus the you wanted Java Moss and some microworms. I'm going to put that in there as well. Which reminds me, anybody who in Canada who would like to have or do some trading or whatnot between either live cultures or plants and that sort of stuff, definitely let me know. I'm definitely up for that sort of thing. Now, the cascading filter on the left, I did the draw for that, and the winner for it is the Hairy Woodsman. So congratulations. I'll definitely leave my email below and get a hold of me and let me know. Well, we'll just make arrangements for all that sort of stuff. So congratulations to everybody there. These are the angels, and no, they're not staying in here. This is before I moved. This is moving day for them, and I moved not all of them initially. I moved about half of them. Actually, not. I didn't count them, so I don't really know for sure. Up into here. So this is just after moving them. They still haven't figured out what they want to do yet, but they are in here. They're doing fine. So this is going to be their new home, and the rest of them will get moved up in a couple of days. I just wanted to make sure that they're all fine. So definitely let me know in the comments below what you think of all this and any suggestions for anything. And thank you very much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. And bye for now.